Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Oli. If this is your first time, then welcome, and if it's not, then welcome back. So in today's video, I want to talk about something that I keep mentioning here and there, and it's something that I've kind of been thinking about for a long time, and I've kind of wanted to make a video on it because I just think it's something that's like kind of important to talk about, and this is especially important if you have sort of health issues or, you know, skin issues, or generally if there's just something that you've also thought about. And basically, this is the fact that I have decided I want to give up alcohol, at least completely. I'd said to myself for an entire year. I'd more or less stopped drinking definitely more than a year ago, but I still did have sort of a bit of alcohol here and there on occasion. So I just also want to say that this is absolutely no judgment to anyone who does drink, and if I'm totally honest, if it wasn't for my different sort of like health issues and my skin issues, I probably definitely would still be a drinker. Alcohol is something that is very much sort of ingrained in my sort of social sphere, and the sort of the social interactions that I have and the sort of the social occasions nearly always revolve around drinking, whether it's sort of celebrating something, whether it's, you know, commiserating over something, or whether it's just for a bit of fun, or whether you just want to casually hang out. There's quite often alcohol involved, and especially in the UK, we have a very strong binge drinking culture, and this is something that I definitely experienced. It's something that, again, since I started drinking, maybe when I was like 16, 17, which is probably quite young, binge drinking was always the kind of, you know, that was kind of like how people drank, and this became even more extreme at university. So there was a lot of sort of, you know, I wouldn't drink very much. It's not like I'd have like a glass of wine just to enjoy here and there, but it would be more sort of like you drink to get drunk, and then you go out and you sort of drink more, and then you want to keep it going, and it's just a lot of drinking. And especially at university, it's on a regular basis. When I came out of university, it was more occasional, but it was definitely once a week, if not twice a week, if not more. And at the time I was single, and I find that when you're single, it's even harder not to drink, because usually if you're going on dates and that kind of thing, other people watch, they might be like, you can still go on dates without drinking, but like, I don't know, I found it awkward. I kind of just thought that maybe I'd just sort of like talk a little bit about and why I sort of decided to give up alcohol. So I made a sort of a list of reasons, and I'll just go through them really briefly. I won't dwell on them too long. But first of all, alcohol is really bad for my skin. At the time when I was sort of trying to heal my skin naturally, I find that even on the occasions when I did drink, my skin would get worse, and it would often not be like the day after, but the day after that. So that was sort of my first reason, the skin and the inflammatory reaction that my skin had to alcohol. This is a really important thing for anybody who has any kind of health issues that are caused by some form of inflammation, systemic inflammation. Alcohol is inflammatory. It will make whatever your condition is, it will make it worse. So if you have something, health-related reasons to give up alcohol, I really strongly advise that you look into this. So the second thing, quite an obvious thing, is hangovers. My hangovers were absolutely terrible, and they just got worse and worse and worse as I got older. When I was younger, when I was 16, I could literally drink alcohol like water, and my hangovers were absolutely fine. And I think as they got older, they just got terrible. They'd last for, you know, usually they'd last longer for a day. I would perform terribly at work. It was just not really worth it. Thirdly, I also started getting sort of hangover anxiety. So if I had something to drink, I'd often wake up with a kind of feeling of anxiousness, and I'd feel that kind of anxiousness the whole of the next day, and I really hated that feeling, and it exacerbated any kind of negative feelings or any kind of negative states of mind that I had. Alcohol made it 10 times worse, and it was just, it was just not a very nice mental state to be in. My fourth reason is it was costing me a lot of money. Every time I'd go out, I'd obviously spend a lot of money on alcohol. I live in London. London is very expensive, and especially if you're drinking out at bars and restaurants and these kind of things. My next reason is kind of a weird one, and I don't think this will apply for everyone, but I am very sensitive to water retention, and alcohol makes me retain a lot of water. I especially feel it sort of around my jawline here, and also I get very puffy eyes. And the few occasions last year when I did drink some alcohol, the next day Charlie would always laugh at me and be like, oh my god, you literally look like a chipmunk, like my face just kind of like blows up. Maybe that's a bit of a vain reason. I mean, it does go away, but I don't like that. Sixth reason is a bit more of a serious reason, is that I used to have terrible sleep problems. I had something called sleep maintenance insomnia, which is basically when you wake up after 4 hours, and this was especially bad if I'd been drinking, and I'd find it incredibly hard to fall back asleep again, and my next day would be totally ruined. But reason number 7 is the sort of personality that I have when I'm drinking. I mean, normally I'm an absolute hoot, but on occasions it did make me kind of maybe a bit aggressive, or if I got cross about something, then it would sort of make things 10 times worse in my head. And I didn't really like at times the person I became, and you know that feeling when you wake up and you think of, oh, why did I say this? Why did I do that? That again was sort of in combination with all the sort of the anxiety and the kind of regret that you get. Like I really, really, really hated that feeling, and it often meant that the night out, and even if it had been fun the evening before, it was never worth it for the feeling that I felt the next day. My reason number 8 was that it was such a waste of time. Whenever I, you know, if I go drinking on a Saturday night, the next day is an absolute write-off. So that's half your weekend gone to being hungover, and I feel like I can't be productive, I can't do anything. And since I've stopped drinking, I feel like genuinely, and this is not to make anyone who does drink feel bad, but like my life has kind of changed because I'm so much more productive, so much more bright-eyed. Like not just that I get a full weekend to myself now, but I also feel a lot better at work on Mondays and Tuesdays. My reason number 9 was the effect of alcohol on my appetite. So I used to have, and I still kind of do on occasion, have sort of problems with binge eating, and I find that when I had alcohol, my sort of any kind of binge eating tendencies that I had would often be triggered by the sort of the hangover feeling. And alcohol is proven to have like a physiological effect on your digestive system, so it definitely is a kind of physical trigger for any of those kind of like weird appetite or binge eating behaviors. Number 10 is obviously probably the most obvious reason, and that is the sort of the effect on your long-term health. And I'm not saying that, you know, enjoying a glass of wine here and there is going to have any damaging effect. I'm talking more about the sort of the binge drinking behavior, which is becoming a lot more normal, especially where I'm from, where I live. This kind of, you know, the excessive amount of drinking, which I find goes hand in hand with going out and having fun and having, you know, social occasions generally, that is not going to be good for your health. You know, considering that I think that I am quite like a sensitive person, like I think I'm a lot more sensitive to lots of different things, more than other people are. I think that's why I have eczema, that's why, you know, I can't eat certain things, why I have allergies and these kind of things. And I think alcohol is definitely in that category of things you consume that I know that I think that I'm more sensitive to than maybe perhaps other people are. So for now I've said I'm not going to be drinking for this entire year. I'm not saying that I'm never going to have a drop of alcohol ever again, because I love wine. I think wine is, I think it's delicious firstly, and I think, you know, there are some occasions where it's so nice to just like sit down and have like a really nice glass of wine over, you know, over a nice dinner or something like that. But for now I just said that I wanted to give it up and completely for this entire year, and then just kind of take it from there. And maybe I'll decide maybe I don't want to continue drinking anymore, maybe I'll decide that actually yes I do. But these are kind of the reasons that I decided I didn't want to drink. I don't know if anyone else, you know, if anyone else is going to watch this and find this at all interesting, and they're going to be like, okay, who cares? But that's kind of what I wanted to say. And I think it's also part of my resolution to myself that this year I was going to be sort of committed and unapologetic about my health choices, and this was one of my health choices. And you know, even when I feel like it might be awkward to say no or no thank you, I'm going to stay strong because I know that this is what I want to do. So that's what I wanted to say for this video. If you liked it, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you again very soon for another one. Mwah!